ครับท่านผู้ชมครับขณะนี้ผมอยู่ที่บ้านพักของท่านเอกอัครราชทูตสหรัฐอเมริกาประจำประเทศไทยคริสตี้เคนนีสวัสดีครับท่านทูตครับ
สวัสดีค่ะยินดีต้อนรับ
Good morning
Welcome to my
Ambassador
house.
Thank you It's my great honor to be here okay
It's a great pleasure to have you here,
Thank you
Ajahn.
Thank you
for
Thank you
coming.
I've heard a lot about you from several articles and several remarks from a lot of international people okay that you have been such a great character I mean in terms of diplomatic mission so how did you find Thailand so far
Well, I love Thailand. Like everyone who comes here, it's beautiful. The people are friendly. The culture is very rich, very diverse, very interesting. Each part of the country has a different food or a different temple or a different style, and I think that's tremendous.
Very good. And I have heard that you just depart from Philippines. So what is the big difference between Philippines and Thailand?
Well, there's a lot of difference. I mean, obviously, Thailand is a Buddhist culture. It's a monarchy. You have a parliament. The Philippines has a president and a Congress, and it's a Catholic country. The weather, of course, is the same. And the people are both very friendly, Southeast Asian, very welcoming to foreigners. But, you know, the economics here are very different. This is a sophisticated, developed country, great infrastructure, extraordinary number of American investors and others. So the two countries are both members of ASEAN, but very different in terms of their economic makeup, their cultural background, their history.
Well, as a lot of people know at the moment that the United States has been suffering from economic problems for at least probably 3 or 4 years already, apparently, okay? So what is the current situation in the U.S. at the moment? I mean, economic situation.
We picked a good time to talk because our economy is improving. You're right, It's been a very tough several years. And it's not just America that suffers. Today's global economies, as you know, Ajahn, are so linked that when one member of the economic family has troubles, everyone does. But right now, we're on a very good path. We've had sustained growth. People are predicting maybe 2% this year. Low by ASEAN standards, but good compared to where we've been.
Okay.
Inflation is still low. We've created about 3 million new jobs in the private sector over the last year and a half. Stock market is on its way back up.
Okay.
So I think all of us are feeling like this is a serious recovery and it's going well.
Well, we're getting back to during the time that a lot of Asian countries got the problem of financial crisis between 1997 to 1998. Well, a lot of people talk about America, but it's kind of negative. For example, like the U.S. government did contribute very little to the Asian countries in relative to China. So what do you think about it?
Well, I wasn't here then. I mean, I obviously read about it, but I wasn't living here, so it's hard to comment on it. But I think it's always difficult. I mean, we were all familiar with the crisis in Asia then, because as I said, the globe is so interconnected. And, I think even now, every nation has to chart their own path back to economic recovery. So even as we in the United States have worked our own path back, it's been good to be a member of the world trading system, to have global partners that we can talk to. And I think the same is true for any nation that's having economic difficulties. To be part of a global system is a good thing.
Getting back to ASEAN, okay, I have heard recently, not only having seen and having heard by my ears, but I have read lots of articles. The President Obama talked about Indonesia. It means, well, it seems to me that the U.S. government is at present giving the great emphasis on Indonesia instead of Thailand, or in terms of strategic partner in ASEAN. So what is the reason behind it?
Yeah, actually, we're giving a strategic emphasis to all of Asia. You may have heard the president announce a strategic pivot to Asia. And ASEAN's a very special focus. I don't actually think we're singling out any one country. But, if you look at ASEAN very objectively, a market of 650 million people. ASEAN is in our top 5 trading partners for the United States. That's a big deal. That's pretty impressive for a group. It's a young market, very tech savvy. Look around us here in Thailand, very diverse. And so I think for the United States, this is exciting. President Obama attended, as you know, meetings in Bali, Indonesia earlier this year, or late last year. He met with all the leaders of ASEAN together, as well as individually. Had a very good talk with the Prime Minister of Thailand, but also the Prime Ministers and Presidents of other ASEAN nations. So, I think for us, and as your ambassador to Thailand, I'm excited. It's great to see the kind of interest and energy and enthusiasm between the United States and ASEAN.
A lot of people recently, they're talking about the great decline of America, both in terms of politics and economics. So what do you think about it, and what might be the consequence for the other countries, especially in Asian countries?
Well, obviously as an American, I don't see a decline.
You
but
don't see it?
what I think you do see is you see, we live in a very multipolar world now. There are a lot of areas of growth, of energy. For example, China, great growth, has brought millions of people out of poverty, and that growth has certainly been good for America, good for Thailand. But look at India, another rising, exciting economic country. Look at ASEAN, the growth rates across ASEAN, the role of ASEAN nations. Look at the role of Thailand. You're next door to a country like Burma, very exciting new developments there. Thailand is our coach through that. So, I think if you look at the world now, there are a lot of important players. And again, I think that's good for all of us. We need healthy trading relationships. We need a lot of markets. We need a lot of allies.
So you didn't see any decline in your country?
I see the United States as strong, engaged, interested. But I think we're all, the United States and Thailand, engaged with a lot more partners than we used to be.
Okay.
That to my mind, you're the economist, Ajahn, but I see that as a very good thing.
Yeah. Well, it's very good to hear about that, because if the U.S. is really in decline, the international order of the world might have to be changed dramatically.
Well, I think the international order of the world is changing, but I think it's changing for the good. You have a lot more nations who are engaged, who are interested. Again, you look at ASEAN and look at the economic power of ASEAN increasingly. Look at the role ASEAN is playing with Burma, helping Burma, sort of open up, liberalize, increase their standing. This is all good.
Ambassador, this might be a direct question, okay?
Please.
What is the U.S. government's economic policy toward Asia, especially Thailand and ASEAN countries at present?
Well, that's a good question. And actually, as I told you, ASEAN features very high on our priority list, and certainly economically. Look at the growth rates across ASEAN, and this is important for us economically, to trade with ASEAN, to have markets, to have U.S. companies here. Thailand is certainly a big player in that. And we have a huge American Chamber of Commerce here, 650 plus American companies do business here. We actually tease in the United States that Thailand is the Detroit of the East.
Okay.
Because if you look at the recovery in the United States of the U.S. auto industry, that's a lot fueled in Thailand. Ford Motor Company has a beautiful new factory here, state-of-the-art. One of the General Motors trucks, the new Chevy Colorado, was actually designed in Thailand.
Okay.
So, as we see Thailand, it's a very strategic economic partner in addition to all of our long-standing partnerships.
Okay. Well, in terms of trade policy, I've heard that during the period of the Obama administration, the U.S. government might have to assert more, well, in terms of American rights. When you do the trade agreement, you're going to put some kind of labor conditions and also environmental conditions into it. And this might be a controversial issue between the U.S. government and the other countries. So what do you think about it?
Well, as you've seen, we've just signed trade agreements with Korea, with Colombia, with Panama. And those are state-of-the-art agreements, which are not easy to negotiate, but they include environmental protection. And I, by the way, think that's something very important to Thais as well as Americans. I see Thailand very interested in preserving the environment, looking to make sure that your pristine forests and waters stay as they are. So when we conclude those trade agreements, that is what we look to do, to make sure it really truly opens markets in a way that's balanced, fair, and protects the rest of the world. With ASEAN, we're really now talking about what we call the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is a new form of trade agreement, and frankly, it's still in the early stages. But what we're doing is sharing those thoughts with Thailand and seeing what people will think back. Remember, any trade agreement is between at least two partners.
Yep.
And it's a negotiation. You know negotiations well, that's your specialty. But it's important that all partners gain.
Okay.
And that it be something all sides are proud of. And that doesn't always happen quickly. And as you know, it's always harder to convince people to open their markets, to allow free competition. In the end, I think for those of us who buy products, it's good.
Okay.
But it's complicated. But I think it's an important step for all of us. I mean, the more markets we have, the more trade, the better we are.
That's very good to hear. Maybe the last question, okay? Because so far it's very useful information from you and from the Thai people and people all over the world who are watching this TV program, okay? What do you think about the Thai government under the Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra?
Well, that's a trick question because, of course, what I think of it is not really what's important. What's important is what Thai people think of
That's
the
diplomatic answer.
Well, but it's also true. I don't vote in Thailand. America doesn't vote, and we work with whoever the government is. And our relationship is not just with the government. Our relationship in Thailand is with the business community, with the cultural community, with universities. So it goes beyond just government to government. But obviously it's important to us to work with the government. The current government, Prime Minister Yingluck, had a very good meeting with President Obama in November. They, of course, not surprisingly, talked economics, trade, opportunities for both of our countries. And if I could say one thing more, I think the relationship now between America and Thailand, regardless of the government, is really future-oriented. We're looking at our entrepreneurs working together, our creative communities working together. And to me, that's really a sign of a great friendship when it keeps growing.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Madam
so much,
Ambassador, for
Ajahn.
giving us the great honor to interview you. ท่านผู้ชมครับที่เสร็จสิ้นการสัมภาษณ์ไปเมื่อสักครู่นี้คิดว่าท่านผู้ชมน่าจะได้ข้อมูลความรู้หลายๆประเด็นเกี่ยวกับเศรษฐกิจการเมืองระหว่างประเทศและหลายประเด็นที่ท่านทูตได้พูดมาเป็นประเด็นที่เชื่อมโยงและเกี่ยวเนื่องกับประเทศไทยเศรษฐกิจของอเมริกาจะขึ้นจะลงหรือจะมีการเปลี่ยนแปลงอะไรใดๆทั้งสิ้นมีผลกระทบต่อประเทศไทยและอีกหลายประเทศในโลกโดยเฉพาะอีกหลายประเทศในทวีปเอเชียเพราะนั้นขอให้ท่านผู้ชมติดตามรายการ Global Talks ต่อไปนะครับยังมีอีกหลากหลายประเด็นที่น่าสนใจขอบคุณครับ